Oh, hi YouTube. Well, today we're going to look at a glider accident, unfortunately. This happened recently in the Southern Alps of France, and it was a two-seat glider that crashed and was missing for a couple of days before it was found. We wish to express our condolences to the friends and family of those who know the pilots, and I hope we can actually draw some lessons out of this accident that can help other people in the future. Let's have a look at the Aviation Safety Network website that outlines all the details of the accident that we know so far. First of all, it was on Wednesday the 10th of July. It was a Schempp Nimbus 4DM glider, and there were 2 occupants on board with 2 fatalities. A Schempp Nimbus 4DM flying from Aspres-sur-Buch in the south of France took off on 10th of July and was not found until 2 days later on the afternoon of the 12th of July around 4 p.m. local time. Due to the remoteness of the area, both occupants perished and the glider was written off. We've got one picture of the glider that I managed to find online, and a Nimbus glider is an open class 2-seat glider that's got big wings. This was a 4DM, so I believe it was a self-launching glider. The M stands for motor. Some of the French news outlets reported on this incident, and they're reporting that the 2 bodies were found. The location where they went missing is very mountainous and remote. They were found near Le Val de Screns and Silac, and between there, I believe, in this mountain range in the middle somewhere. Not sure where exactly yet. Just looking at this tourism website, you can see the terrain that we're dealing with in this area. This is a great picture just showing how mountainous it is. Deep valleys, lots of trees below the tree line, and big rugged mountains. So not a good place to end up in trouble. The missing aircraft was first alerted on Facebook through the Open Glider network. They put out a request for any other aircraft flying in the area to hand in their FLAM tracking information to try and locate the glider. And we'll have a little look at that in a second. This is the last known public information from that particular glider. They didn't have their aircraft set up correctly in the OGN database, so we had their FLAM ID, which is highlighted here. And this is the last known location. So the aircraft was found in the southern area down here, between Vars and Silac. The last recorded FLAM point, if we look on PureTrack, you can see it was, if you flip this down, you get local time and UTC time, and the local time was 3:19 p.m. on Wednesday the 10th of July. So the reason OGN posted on Facebook asking for people to hand in their FLAMs, FLAM tracking units inside aircraft don't have any way to report the data onto the internet. Most gliders have a FLAM unit on board, and this broadcasts out the location using radio to other gliders in the area. It can detect if they're going to collide or on a collision course or not. Now, the OGN network was created through a series of receivers that volunteers installed throughout many countries in the world, and they pick up these signals from the gliders and can report back onto the internet the location of those gliders. And that's how we get live tracking for a lot of gliders flying, especially in Europe. So although FLAM units cannot talk to the internet and report back their positions live while they're flying, FLAM devices do record any data they get from other aircraft. And they store that in the IGC file that is your log file inside the FLAM unit. So the FLAM company can then go and look at this data and see if there are any other known contact points from the missing glider, and that can help pinpoint location. And I believe they managed to do that this time. So the last known location of this glider was at 1:19 UTC time, and I know the FLAM people had found data from 1:45 p.m. UTC time from those IGC files that people had emailed through to them. So obviously being missing for 2 days is not good. Now, I apologise in advance if this sounds like a bit of an ad for PureTrack, but this is exactly what it was created for, to prevent accidents and incidents being dragged out like this unnecessarily. We have the technology to know where people are at all times, anywhere on the planet. So if you go missing, don't you want to be found quickly? So what can you do to make sure that you will be found in the case of an emergency or if you go missing? Satellite tracker can be critical, especially if you're flying in remote regions such as mountainous terrain or the Alps where there's no cell phone reception. The only thing that's going to work almost anywhere on the planet are satellite trackers such as Spot and InReach. Make sure that your ADS-B and FLAM data is actually configured correctly. You want to make sure they're showing up on the tracking sites such as PureTrack. For FLAM, this means ensuring that your FLAM hex ID is configured correctly in the OGN database, and that means all the tracking systems will know that your FLAM code is your aircraft. You can use a cell phone tracker. You don't have to use just one type of tracking system. Use multiple tracking systems. The cell phone might be in range of some cell phone towers, while the FLAM is in range of the OGN receivers, and they can be at different times. ADS-B tracking is also very useful. If you've got ADS-B in your aircraft, make sure you have it on for the tracking purposes. Again, you have to be in range of a receiver, which means if you're down low in valleys and mountains, you might not be picked up by ADS-B. Let's have a look at how PureTrack can help find someone. To search for a registration, enter it into the search box with or without country code. Let's go and find Golf Papa Kilo, which I know is flying right now in New Zealand. And it will find it anywhere on the planet and load up its recent track. This will always give you the last known location of that aircraft. And we store those last known points for 8 weeks. So you've got plenty of time to try and find where someone is. All the tracking features in PureTrack that help you find someone are completely free. You don't have to pay for it. When you search, you can see the age of the data that's being received. So this is only 6 seconds ago. Now, another useful feature of PureTrack, if you hover over a track, it will load the locations of all the other aircraft that were flying around that time. So for example, here we are at Thursday, 1:19 AM New Zealand time, which is 3:20 PM in the afternoon. And you can see the locations of all the other aircraft around that glider. As you hover over the chart or pan around on your phone, you'll see all the other aircraft locations update. So I hope that's useful. Spend a bit of time getting PureTrack and other tracking systems set up. It doesn't really matter which tracking systems you use, as long as you make sure you actually get them set up and you have people in your club or organization who know how to use it to find your location. Okay, thanks for watching. Any comments or questions, put them in the comment section below.